Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Cathedral Check-In, a new video series to keep you up to date on what's happening behind the scenes here at Christchurch Cathedral. My name is Mark McDonald, and I'm the Assistant Director of Music and currently serving as the Interim Communications Officer here at the Cathedral. In today's video, we'll take a look at some of the ongoing infrastructure projects happening now in the Cathedral Nave, including some very exciting upgrades to our video streaming equipment. So to help bring us up to date on these projects, I'm joined today with Canon Ian Alexander and Director of Facilities Edward Haley, who I understand are both inside the cathedral as we speak. Hello, Ed. Hello, Ian.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hello, Mark.
Ed, where are you right now?
Well, I am actually in the south balcony of the nave. I'm trying to fill in for Saint Mark behind me, but I'm probably a long way from the saint. Anyhow, most of you know me as the director of finance, and you see me a lot in that capability. But my other part of my job is also director of facilities. So in this one, we're going to be having a look at some of the things going on in the cathedral.
And Ian, it looks like you're perhaps a little bit more easy to spot in the cathedral right now, but where are you right now, Ian?
Well, Mark, you ought to be able to recognize where I am because it's very familiar territory for you. I am indeed in the organ loft, and the shot of me looking back over the railing to the east end and the chancel area. And the reason I'm here is that this is the spot which will soon become the nerve center for our new permanent audio video production center and live streaming hub.
So I'm really excited to talk a little bit about this new installation, but I think it would be worth informing everyone a little bit of where we came from with this project. So Ian, what's a little bit of the background on our video services so far?
Sure. Well, it actually goes back about 11 months, hard to believe, but I do remember because it was St. Patrick's Day. I was down in the Lady Chapel leading Tuesday morning prayer, as I do in normal times. And it was decided to ask Craig Hebert from St. Mary's in Oak Bay, who has a professional background in videography, to bring his camera on down and record that service because we thought we might have to close the cathedral. And lo and behold, by the next Sunday, as you recall, we were locked down. We opened for a while in the summer and early fall, and we're locked down again now. But by the Sunday after that St. Patrick's Day, we were already filming services, first pre-recording them and then live streaming them. And as far as equipment, we started out by begging and borrowing. I don't think we ever had to actually steal anything. Fairly soon, we rented a professional quality camera. That made a big difference. And gradually we started buying some pieces of gear of our own, some professional microphones and a audio mixing board, because of course music is such an important part of what we do here and we wanted to present it well. And then in the fall, we were able to purchase 2 used cameras of our own, which meant we didn't have to be picking it up and taking it back every time we wanted to do something. And that has meant, as people know, that we've been able to present 2 services a week, plus all those big special occasions like Ascension and All Souls and Christmas time, mostly just with 1 camera, occasionally 2 cameras, but then still for the really big productions like the recent Episcopal installation or the Lessons and Carols at Christmas time, we've still had to bring in a professional outside crew because the consecration, for example, had 5 cameras for a 2-hour live shoot. And you know very well that the Lessons and Carols was recorded by Roll Focus over 3 evenings and then assembled under your direction in the edit suite over several days. So those big productions require a lot more stuff.
It's certainly been a big learning experience for all of us over this past year. And as we've grown with our equipment, we're also starting to grow in our knowledge of all of this video stuff. So there's some pretty exciting new developments that are happening right now. And Ian, I was wondering if you could give us an idea of what's happening now in the Cathedral Nave.
Sure. Well, as I say, there is going to be a big and I really quite substantial professional quality permanent audio video installation put in, because we know that we know that we will reopen, but we also know that live streaming of concerts and of services and other events is going to be a permanent part of our life here at the Cathedral. Even when people can attend live, there's still going to be an appetite for people to be able to see it. And so we need to get past the kind of temporary interim arrangement to something much more permanent.
And obviously something like this, a permanent installation, is going to cost a lot of money, right? So Ed, in a year when we're now looking at an operational deficit, how is the Cathedral going to pay for all this?
Well, we are very fortunate at the Cathedral to have the entity called the Christchurch Cathedral Buildings Limited. And that actually is a separate entity from the Cathedral itself, and it actually has separate funding. So one of the main mandates of Christchurch Cathedral Buildings Limited is to provide funds for say ongoing expenditures, such as capital expenditures, such as what Ian's talking about here, as well as ongoing very large maintenance items for both the Cathedral and Memorial Hall. So what happens when you've got a project that Ian's talking about right now is that comes forward and is presented to the directors of Christchurch Cathedral Buildings Limited, and discussed thoroughly, and then a decision is made at the director level as to whether they will approve that expenditure or not. And fortunately, it has been fully approved at Christchurch Cathedral Buildings Limited, so it will not be coming out of the funds of the cathedral itself.
It's really great that to be able to have that resource, and obviously reassuring when we're about to go into 2021 with a uncertain future with our budgets. So thanks for that update,
Absolutely.
Ed.
Okay.
Ian, you are in a pretty good vantage point now in the Cathedral to give us an overview of exactly what this project looks like. So what can you tell us so far? What's been done and what is about to be done in the Cathedral?
Sure. Well, what's going to be done is at the end of the project, we will have 6 remote controlled cameras permanently mounted on pillars and walls. They're called PTZ cameras. It's an American usage, PTZ, I guess we would say, which stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. And that's actually what these cameras can do. They can move from side to side, they can tilt up and down, they can zoom in and out, and all of that can be done by remote control. So we don't need to have human operators at each camera. We have up here at the production desk, we'll have a joystick and a video switcher, and one person, when properly trained and having had some experience, hopefully, touch wood, because you and I will be among the people doing this, will be able to operate that whole system. So there'll be a camera right up above the Tewkesbury Cross behind the Reredos, looking over the altar and out into the nave. There'll be 2 cameras on 2 of the pillars in front of the pulpit and lectern. There'll be a couple of cameras here on the west wall, and there will also be a permanently installed camera up here in the organ loft, because as people will know, we love to present organ recitals and the organ as part of our musical offering, and we want to be able to see those performances. And we also have the big screen that people who've come to our organ recitals in the past will remember. And now, instead of just having one camera on a tripod locked down shooting that fixed position of the console, we'll be able to have 2 or 3 cameras up here, just as that people will have seen for some of the professional quality productions that you have put out over the last month. The other thing I should say is we're really lucky that we have some skilled professionals who are part of our parish family who are helping us with this. Jeff Nelson, our kind of resident electrician and parishioner, was in this past week crawling around in the attics over Ed's head, high up in the triforium north and south. There are attics, people may not know. And Jeff was up there pulling all the wires that are needed to connect all these cables together. And I asked him last night, Jeff, how much cable did you pull? Oh, he said, 8,250 feet. That's over 1.5 miles of cable that has been pulled this week. About a week from now, Pacific Audio Works will come in and start installing the cameras. And around the same time, another great friend of the cathedral, Ron Malzahn, who's a skilled and experienced professional contractor, will be bringing in the millwork for the production desk, which will go up here just to my right in the corner of the loft. Then once it's all in place, we'll need some training, some orientation, some testing. So don't want to promise a date yet for going live, but I would like to think that we might be on the air with the system by Easter, if all goes well. And if I may, I'd also like to put in a pitch. We're hoping that we can attract some more volunteers to our small but mighty team of folks who are doing this operation week by week.
It's a really ambitious project, but something that's really, really exciting. So thanks for sort of going into some of those details. It certainly brings us up to the standard of several other cathedrals and churches, both in our area and around the world, that are doing this now. What comes to mind, for example, is St. Mark's, Seattle, right?
Exactly. It will really bring us into the 21st century, bring us up to speed with a lot of those other churches that have been doing it. And it also realizes an aspiration that was mentioned a lot during the greater works than these visioning consultations. People said, we want our cathedral to be accessible to the whole diocese and beyond. And technology is the way to do it. And we know that from some of our recent events. The Bishop Anna's consecration, I think you would know better than I, but I think it was close to 1,500 people who've seen that. And so we are now extending the footprint of this cathedral literally around the world.
So hugely exciting project here at the cathedral. So looking forward to seeing how this all develops, and we'll have more updates for you all as we get closer to a going live date. Just as we close up here, I know there's a couple of other, maybe not quite as glamorous projects as the live streaming project, but Ed, you've got a couple of other things to share about what's happening in the Nave right now.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm up in the balcony right now, joining St. Mark and St. Luke behind me. And because there's a project that we've been kind of talking about for a few years now, concerns about people being in the balcony and not having the right height or safety height. Because if people have been up in the balcony, they'll know that the actual wall is actually very short. So we've been happy to get this project going. And as Ian mentioned, Ron Malzahn's involved in the project currently, putting in the desk up there. But this is also one of his projects as well. We're very fortunate to have Ron. He's a very versatile carpenter and general contractor. And again, this is a smaller project, but it also is a project that is being paid for by Christchurch Cathedral Buildings Limited. So again, something that will bring a lot of, safety that's been needed in the cathedral, particularly on the balconies. So I'm going to do a bit of a show and tell here. Love these shows and tells. So I can walk around and I'll show you right now. I think you can see there's a little post there you can see that has initially been put in. And there's posts all the way like that down both balconies, because both balconies are going to have this railing. And I'll bring you over here a little bit, and you can kind of see the teak railing that it's not quite secure on there. Can you see that?
Yeah, looks great.
Beautiful, beautiful teak railing that is going in, thanks to Ron, who actually had had this wood. He purchased it, I believe, from somewhere. A gymnasium in the Philippines had all this wood, and he brought it over. And teak, if people don't know, is extremely strong wood and a beautiful wood. And it's amazing how he's also matched the other woodwork in the cathedral. So it definitely will not look out of place. And we've also done it in such a way that you'll be able to, when you're in a concert, be able to actually see the concert kind of underneath the railing. So we didn't want to make it look like a prison or anything and block people's view. So we are really thankful that this is being done now at a time that we're closed. so that when we do reopen, and we're looking forward to reopening, and we do have concerts and services such as our huge services that go on at Christmas time, that we won't be concerned about people's safety when we put them up in the balcony area. So that's one project. The other one I just want to touch on, I don't know if people were aware, but we ended up, about a month ago, I guess, or maybe a couple of months ago now, of a flood that happened in the columbarium. And what we had a tremendous amount of water on the flooring in there. And what eventually happened, and this was about a month ago, is that part of the flooring heaved. The tiling separated from the concrete it was cemented on, and it actually heaved in an area, which is actually quite unusual. But so again, that job has currently been worked on. We're getting the tiles carefully removed because if the tiles got damaged and we couldn't re-put them down there, the matching of the floor would be almost impossible. So again, this is another job that Ron's group is doing as well. We are so thankful that we have Ron in our congregation and who is able to do this stuff as well. And what will happen is that once all that tiling is taken off and the floor is then prepared again, it'll go back on. In addition to that, because of the water, we've had a lot of efflorescence, a lot of the salts that have got into the tiling itself. So Chris and Peter have, our custodians, have a big job now of doing some major cleaning and taking care of that as well. So one step at a time.
And as I understand, Ed, this is also a Christchurch Cathedral buildings project. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Because what happens is the columbarium is actually also a separate entity because of it is a columbarium, and money is paid by them from time to time in order to maintain the columbarium. So yes, this would be also a cost of Christchurch Cathedral Buildings Limited.
Mark, I know we're just about out of time, but since we've mentioned Ron Malzahn so often, I just want to say that the Malzahn generational contribution to the cathedral continues because Ron's son Nathan is the youngest of our live streaming volunteers and is doing this to contribute towards his high school volunteer credits. So we expect to have Malzahns around this place contributing for many years to come.
Indeed, and as Ian said, we're always looking for new volunteers, so do get in touch if you're interested in learning more about helping out with some of the tech stuff here at the Cathedral. Ed and Ian, I want to thank you both for joining me today. I know you're both at the Cathedral and I'm at home. It's been such a pleasure to talk with both of you, and thanks for showing me a little bit about the upgrades that are currently happening.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone, and see you next time on another Cathedral Check-In. See you later.